lefty-heavy, 6 lefties in this lineup. Kayla Falterman is one of those. She's their vocal leader, hits in the 5 spot. We'll start off with Maddie Hayden, who is one of their more experienced players at the top of the order. And she'll lead off for Louisiana, facing Grace Sparks in the circle for Texas A&M. So what does Grace Sparks bring to the circle, Danielle?
Well, she's primarily down. She has that, and she's someone that's able to come in and kind of have these midweek games, as well as bridge the gap at times. And I feel like with this Texas A&M pitching staff, they don't have a solidified number 2. You know what you're going to get with Emily Kennedy, but I think they've continued to find ways to have good performances. But she's primarily a down in the zone, and
this one just goes over the head of Coco Woolley at short, finds its way to the grass, and Maddie Hayden extending her hit streak, now 6-game hit streak. She's had a hit in 17 of their last 18 games.
And so good in that leadoff spot. And that's a new role for her this year, and just been so electric, spark plug, and fun offense to watch with all the lefties, slappers, triple threats.
Deja Williams, another lefty stepping in, showing bunt. And this is a Louisiana team who loves the short game. They're 23-22 on the season, out of the Sun Belt. And Allison Habits told us they're a gritty team. I liked how she described her group.
Gritty and never say die. They're always in it.
Deja Williams lays down the bunt. Kennedy Powell crashing in on it. But Deja Williams doing her job. She's retired, but moves Hayden into scoring position.
And a good opportunity for Emily Smith. To me, she's someone that's so fun to watch, leads this team in home runs and RBIs. And that's the importance of being able to lay down the bunt and put them in scoring position to give Emily Smith that chance to potentially hit in that first run of the game here for Louisiana.
Yeah, Emily Smith, it's kind of hard to believe that she's a freshman, such a mature, not just in her personality, but in her at-bats.
And those are really the things that stand out. I feel like when you're able to get these incoming freshmen that just have this presence about them when they step in the box and the maturity, like her numbers are off the charts for a freshman. And I think that those things really like stand out when you're doing your scouting report as a pitcher. You're aware, freshman or not, you respect the numbers in this game, and her in that 3 spot for a reason.
Two balls and a strike from Grace Sparks to Emily Smith. Fouls that one off. The count evens up at 2-2. Yeah, Emily Smith has talked about this season how her confidence hasn't wavered, and that's big time. Whether she's having success or not in the box, she feels like she's been confident in her preparation, stepping in every time.
And at times the hardest part about the game, right? Like, this is such a game of failure, especially when you are a freshman. There's this expectation that you have on yourself, but the ones that know how to deal with that piece, when you struggle, when you're down, how to pick yourself back up, I think can be the most impressive part, especially when you're younger. It's harder to figure that out as a freshman.
The swing and the miss. Emily Smith sits down. Grace Sparks has her first strikeout of the evening.
And this is a really good plan of attack by Grace Sparks. What stands out to me the most is location. Look at this pitch. She hammered her on the inside part of the plate, got a lot of foul balls, and then goes with this drop about a ball off the plate and gets her to chase. That's a good K.
So 2 outs as Sam Rowe, the third baseman, steps up. Still has Maddie Hayden in scoring position over at second base. Sam Rowe, the transfer from Florida. In her second season at Louisiana, was a All-Sun Belt second team selection last year.
Just looking at Sam Rowe's numbers, like February 262 average in that month, March 298, in the month of April 375. So she's just continuing to get better, and that's potentially probably a little bit of SEC experience that she's had. As you know, it's a tough conference to play in.
Throw pops up into foul territory and scooped up by Kennedy Powell for out number 3. So Louisiana will leave a runner in scoring position. We get to see
A little bit. They've been pretty consistent for a good chunk of the year. It's been fun.
Kennedy Powell is the leadoff for Texas A&M, and she fouls off that pitch. This is a Texas A&M program. Last week, for the very first time in program history, they were the #1 team in the nation. They had a 14-game winning streak before they were surprisingly run-ruled in Game 3 of the series against Missouri to end the week.
That stuff happens, though, right? Like, Coach Tricia Ford made it clear the SEC is so hard, right? And I think when you, especially think about that Missouri series, they had that doubleheader. You saw Emily Kennedy throw 10 innings on Thursday. So she wasn't someone that was going to get the ball again that next day. And I think it's a good test sometimes for these other pitchers, right? Like, who's going to be able to step up and you lose a game? It is what it is. But I think those are some good learning moments for this team.
Yeah, and Tricia Ford told us she wants this team to have a chip on its shoulder. Every year she tries to find something to put that chip on their shoulder. And it's the fact that a lot of people said, oh, you kind of snuck into being #1. And she said, no, we didn't sneak in. She talked to us about that today.
And I think what stood out was a slap in the face for the women that have been here for 4 years.
Kennedy Powell hits this one back to Tyra Clary in the circle, and she is retired. Speaking of Clary, she gets the start today, the transfer from Nevada for this Louisiana program.
Well, and a good opportunity for Clary. I think anytime you get to go up against an offense like this, the adrenaline's flowing, you feel it, the heart rate's up a little bit, and these are good moments for you to really trust your stuff. Has that good changeup, she can go down in the zone, but at the end of the day, it's going to come down to hitting good spots. And I also think not being fazed by who you're facing, right? I think at times you could have this intimidation factor with, oh, this team #1 in the country last year. You don't need to play any different because of the opponent.
Sends in the strike to Amari Harper, the best batter when it comes to average in this Texas A&M lineup, 450. She's also reached base in the last 20 games. That's a career-high streak for her.
Well, and patient. I think that, to me, is something that stands out about her at-bats. I mean, she's had 7 walks in her last 6 games, right? So, yeah, she's able to step up and do something big if she needs to, but she's also someone that doesn't swing at the ball way out of the zone. She is that patient hitter and makes it tough on a pitcher, and that's something Coach Tricia Ford continued to keep saying in the phone call today. It's like, the goal for these hitters, how tough can we make it? How many pitches can they make and force a pitcher to throw?
Speaking of patience, Danielle, her patience paying off. She draws the walk, and Texas A&M has its first base runner. So now 21 straight games where Amari Harper has reached safely. So you think, okay, you face Amari Harper, now what's next? Well, here comes Maya Perez for Texas A&M.
By far one of my favorite hitters in the lineup, especially looking from last year to this year. I think how much she has grown in so many ways. The maturity and the off-season work really is something that she went to town on. I mean, everyone remembers that home run in the Super Regionals against Texas, and I think that is really what opened her eyes to the type of player she could be at the collegiate level. And Coach Tricia Ford mentioned this a couple weeks ago. It wasn't that she hadn't played this game at a high level, but it sometimes takes that adjustment period of playing collegiately and what that looks like, and the numbers speak for itself. And sometimes those realization moments of like, dang, this is what it's going to take. And the work is the work, and you can just tell that in the summertime she really just went to business. And I don't know, these are just kind of stories that stand out. The ribbies, I mean, the homers.
Wow.
So good.
I mean, doubling her average.
Yeah.
Savannah White just went out to talk to her pitcher, Tyra Clary. 3 straight balls now to Maya Perez. She's already walked 1. Amari Harper's over at first.
And she keeps nibbling that outside corner, and that to me is a pitch that I like, and I always want that for pitchers. But the biggest thing is if you're not getting it, how can I bring it up a little bit, right? Understanding against a team like this, if I give up too many free passes, eventually I'm going to get burned. I have to find a way to adjust. But back-to-back free passes for Tyra Clary.
Clary has thrown 7 straight balls as Mac Barbara, the DP, steps up. And Danielle, you and I got to see Mac Barbara in person last year in regionals. She was at San Diego State, and they went out and played at UCLA for regionals. She was an unforgettable player to watch in person.
Oh, and just one of the best personalities. Like, she lights up a room. You can just tell, and that's something I asked Coach Tricia Ford, just her relationship with Maya Perez, and she said that they really just give each other trouble and push and nudge, and I think that's so fun because to me they're like the Batch sisters. The numbers are there, the fear factor's there, they get along.
Oh, and Tyra Clary goes ahead of Mac Barbara 1-2. Hitting .444 with runners in scoring position. She's got 2 on via walks.
And someone to me that if I look at the course of the last couple weeks, that LSU series, 5 RBIs. You look at that Missouri series, 5 RBIs. Like, those are little things that stand out, what you expect of someone like Mac Barbara, especially in SEC play.
Barbara hits this one towards the right side. It pokes through out to right field. 1 run is going to come home. Speaking of RBI, knock that one down for Mac Barbara.
It's a good piece of hitting. This is an off-speed pitch, but look at the location of it. It's up in the zone, and it's hung a little bit too much over the plate. Body movement is forward, but hands stay back. She does a good job and is wicked strong enough to be able to hit this through the right side.
So Barbara at first. Perez over at second for Coco Woolley, the co-SEC Player of the Week as of just a few hours ago, Danielle.
Yeah, she had a terrific series in Missouri last weekend. And, I mean, a moment that stands out to me was that series that I called one of the games against LSU. That game that I called, she actually didn't get the start. And I think looking at what she's been able to do and how she's been able to respond is just so impressive.
Tricia Ford told us today Coco just needed a little mental reset, and maybe taking a breath out of the starting lineup for one game certainly did the trick. She's been on fire since then. 1-2.
And impressive that she's been able to move around the lineup a little bit. She's been up at the top majority of it, and then they've dropped her down. And I like that, giving her more RBI situations and maybe a little less pressure.
Off the end of the bat, rolls to Mia Lascano at short, just in time. And that's interesting because this Louisiana team has had to shuffle around their infield. Mia Lascano moving from second to shortstop because their everyday starting shortstop, Cecilia Vasquez, is out with an injury to her finger that happened in warm-ups last weekend before the South Alabama series.
Yeah, sometimes the juggling around, and it's what you don't necessarily want to happen, but you always have to plan for it. People have to be able to be ready to get inserted into potentially a position that, not that they're not comfortable with, but maybe the reps aren't there, but you know how to field that ball. Lascano is perfectly capable of being in that shortstop position.
Yeah, she was actually battling for the shortstop position with Vasquez before Vasquez won it. So Lascano comfortable there as Allie Enright is at the plate. 2 balls, no strikes. Looking for shallow left, just in front of Deja Williams, who lays out for it. Mac Barbara is home. And Perez, 2-run score off the bat of Allie Enright.
gosh, I thought for a second, Courtney, that Williams was going to be able to glove this up. I like the layout, but it just not able to keep it in. She catches it, but as soon as she turns her glove around, just not in there. Good all-out efforts. A couple more runs up on the board for Texas A&M.
A 2 RBI double for Allie Enright, her 10th double of the season. And these are the first earned runs in the last 15 innings of play allowed by this Louisiana team. Here's KK DeMitt, the true freshman who has solidified her spot at second base. DeMitt caught by Maddie Hayden in center field. So Texas A&M on the board.
Because I remember her from the time she started at like Alabama, right? And 25 years that she put in at that program. And it was hard for her to step away. And she missed those ladies, and obviously family first and taking care of her mom and going home, all of those things. But what a perfect opportunity for her to go back to her alma mater. Incredible, played basketball and softball there. You know, I love me a two-sport athlete. I don't know many that can do it in college, which just goes to show how good she was. But she just radiates this positivity, and you know that athletes gravitate towards her. She's always smiling.
And she's loved coaching Kayla Falterman, who is leading off the second inning for Louisiana. She told us that Kayla is that vocal leader. I mean, just been so much fun to coach and really sets the tone for Louisiana. Off the end of the bat, rolls slowly back to Grace Sparks in the circle, and Falterman is retired.
And the biggest thing I think for Louisiana, that's something that Coach Habits really talked about, is like that barrel control for those lefties. You have a lot of left-handed hitters in the lineup, a lot of triple threats. And she said the difference for us moving forward, instead of like slapping and hitting a ball to the shortstop, can we barrel a ball up and be strong enough to hit it up the middle? And so those are the little adjustments through not only this game, but the rest of, you know, conference play and into that tournament, I think that can help them, because you got to stay above 500. You want to make a postseason push if you can.
Sparks fires that pitch in to Aaron Ardois. One. And the bunt goes foul. You know, Allison Habits has not been afraid to schedule tough. And this is not the first time she's faced an SEC team this season. They're actually 2-8 against the SEC this year. One of those wins coming against number 21 Alabama. And she told us that was just so special back on March 8th to win in Tuscaloosa. Bittersweet, because she was facing a lot of players that she coached.
And probably mentally tough, right? Like when you think of that, going back home, and they were saying goodbye to her when she said, hey, I'm gonna kind of move on in this next phase of life, and then she comes back as a coach, and then everyone's standing ovation for her. Just so many different emotions. But when you think of Alabama softball, you think of Coach Habits, and obviously Coach Murphy and a lot, but man, she was special there.
Gabby Stutz pulls it to KK DeMitt at second, and it's 3 up, 3 down. Quickly, Texas A&M's defense and pitching takes care of the...
...be a part of with that, but it's just her savage mentality. It really is. Like when I think of ruthless in the best way, I really think of Coach Tricia Ford. Like she wants her athletes to perform at a high level and expects that of them. Of course she has grace, right? But I just love how she's able to expect that and push them. I know there was a clip going around Twitter a little bit ago when she was saying, listen, freshmen come on campus and they're all giddy and they're all happy. I don't like that. I like it when they're in the weight room and they are grinding and it is hard. That's fun. That is the fun stuff about playing at this level. And she's just all gas, no brakes.
Yeah, it's really fun to talk to her. Grayson Coleman leading off this inning. It's 8-9-1 for Texas A&M due up. You can tell, too, that her players have bought into that mentality. I mean, in her third season, so it's mostly your recruits, especially with the transfer portal. That things can happen so quickly, but that mentality paying off, becoming that #1 team in the nation. Now #2 this week, which is still an amazing accomplishment to be one of the best in a league in the SEC that's projected to get 14 of the 15 softball teams into the tournament.
Well, and sitting up top right now in the SEC standings, right? When you look at the grind of week to week, the resume, and they continue to keep performing at a high level. Multiple ways that they can win, right? I think those are the little things that stand out to me the most.
You see where Texas A&M has been projected and where they've finished, so exceeding those expectations that the preseason poll has put on them. I don't think any coach loves a preseason poll, no matter what sport I cover. I don't think they look at it also.
No.
Kramer Eshtay, the #9 hitter, left fielder. Just one of 3 players to start every game this season for Texas A&M. Actually spent a couple of seasons at Louisiana, so facing her former team.
And I like her in that 9 spot. She just can turn that lineup over. You know she can drop that bunt if need be. She is patient, has 22 walks on the season. That's at times what you want from someone down at the bottom in the 9 spot, almost like that leadoff hitter mentality.
Three balls and a strike. Tyra Clary walked 2 in the last inning, and both of those were able to come around and score to help Texas A&M take a 3-0 lead.
And I think Tyra Clary's been doing a good job. I know she's fallen behind in some counts, and the score's 3-0, but when I look at this game as a whole, I will say the strike zone has gotten smaller, it seems. And sometimes you're trying to figure it out that first, second inning. What are pitches I can get away with? She's hitting good quality spots, in on the lefties, in on the right-handed hitters. She doesn't have any fear throwing in, and I can appreciate that.
This will be the 7th pitch that she has thrown to Eshtay. And she issues her 3rd walk of the game. Eshtay is aboard. So that brings us back to the top of the order. Kennedy Powell gets a second look at Tyra Clary. Coming up after, on the next inning, we will talk to Allison Habits to start the 3rd. Kennedy Powell likes the first pitch out to right field. It bounces. Eshtay running around to 3rd. Powell over to 2nd. Just like that, it's 2 in scoring position.
And Kennedy Powell just does a good job of like using the dirt here, gets that extra hop, but also right through the 3-4 hole. You see infield in a little bit on the right side. Second base was playing a little bit more in, and that's able to sneak through. Couple runners here for Texas A&M in scoring position with a hot Amari Harper.
So a visit out to the circle. It's Allison Habits talking to Tyra Clary.
And I do think, too, it's, you know, the free passes can hurt you. I think they're going to potentially make a pitching change here. But the free passes end up hurting you. And it's never intentional, and it's trying to kind of figure that piece out. But seeing 3 walks already for Clary. Teams find ways to like make you pay for that, and that's what you've seen happen with Texas A&M.
And so we will have a pitching change here. It looks like Mallory Wheeler will step in and take the ball from Tyra Clary. We'll show you what Wheeler has in her wheelhouse when we come back to College Station.
To get ahead of these hitters.
And she has to start off with a 450 hitter and Amari Harper with 2 in scoring position. Kramer Eshte walked, and then Kennedy Powell singled, advanced to second on the throw to set up this situation here for Amari Harper. Wheeler induces the swing and a miss from Harper. And Mallory Wheeler has really talked about how Allison Habits has put full trust in her, and that has just been a game changer for her to go out there in the circle and know that her head coach has her back. That's huge for a freshman.
I do. And I have to agree. I think there's this level of confidence that you're able to take out there, especially as a freshman, when you feel that trust from your head coach, when you feel that trust from your pitching coach, Shelby Sinceri, the LSU grad. It just gives you a little bit of a leg up out there. But coming in blowing smoke. I mean, back-to-back 70-mile-an-hour pitches. You love to see it. Like I said, she has long levers. Standing in at 6'1", hardest thrower on this Louisiana team. And that's a money pitch, Courtney. She's just sawing her off in the inner half. And I feel like if I notice anything at times in this game, you're not seeing as many right-handed pitchers own the inner half on the left-handed hitters. And I don't know if it's this fear of hitting them, but I love that pitch from her.
Just an interesting note, the first 5 hitters in this Texas A&M lineup, 1 through 5, are all lefties. Full count to Amari Harper. She's battling right now with Mallory Wheeler, who just entered this game for Louisiana. Ice water in her veins, comes in and strikes out Amari Harper.
Let's go. I love a little juice. This ball's up in the zone, a little bit of rise spin up, but to me it's the excitement in this strikeout that is so key. Energy is contagious. She came in and shut the door on that hitter. Obviously, tough hitter in Maya Perez, but love to see it.
Just the 10th time this season that Amari Harper has struck out. But yeah, you do go to Maya Perez next, who walked in the first inning. That was off of Tyra Clary. Wheeler ahead.
And getting ahead. You've seen her on the last 2 hitters where she's come in. She's been able to get ahead. And that's when you're able to be successful. I know that sounds super simple, and the keys to the game for pitchers are getting ahead, but sometimes it can be challenging. But she's just continuing to find a way on the outer half. Swings and misses on her velo. Just a cool 72.
Hopper, Gabby Stutz at second, and Mallory Wheeler, the true freshman, comes in with 2 runners in scoring.
They're out of a game. They're competitors. They like to fight, and we just wait till the game is over and look at the scoreboard. So hopefully they'll do that again today and find a way to get some runs across the plate here.
Coach, Mallory Wheeler coming in, facing Amari Harper, Maya Perez with runners on second and third. I mean, electric freshman. What do you love about her?
Well, I love that she gets to do that in this environment and in that pressure situation. Like, that's what you dream of for a freshman. And for her to have success in that moment speaks volumes about her and her competitive spirit. Kind of like you, Danielle, like that fierce competitor, like, give me the best and let me go at them.
Yeah.
Love it. Thanks, Coach. We appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. Go Cajuns.
Yeah, definitely a big moment for Mallory Wheeler. And now, does that help the Louisiana Bats? Do they get a little juice from seeing their freshman pitcher do that as they step back out to face Grace Sparks in the circle, who only had to throw 10 pitches in the last inning?
I think it's going to come down to the adjustments on those left-handed hitters. Coach Habits mentioned it in the coach's call yesterday, the importance of being able to adjust with the barrel control. They're able to go to that next level when they can really lock in and adjust AB to AB when it comes to that, especially with how many lefties they really do have. The difference between hitting the ball to the shortstop and up the middle, what's the adjustment on that, and how can they do that? Those are kind of the things that stood out from that call with her.
Savannah White leading off here, 8, 9, and 1 due up for Louisiana. They've only had one base runner today. Left her in scoring position. That evens it up at 2-2. Savannah White transferring in from Campbell, where she made 2 NCAA appearances. She was with the Camels in the tournament in 2022 and 2023. Oh, got a hold of that one. Touch 'em all. Let's go, Savannah White. Leading off this inning with a solo shot, just her second home run of the season, her first since March 14th.
And for a second, I didn't know if this is going to stay fair or foul. It's just a pitch that stays over the heart of the plate, but looks like it hits that foul pole in left field. Gotta love it from your 8-hitter, Savannah White. Hitting the flagpole, foul pole. Fire me up.
Milascano, first pitch pops up to Kramer Echte in left, and that's the first out of the inning. Top of the order with the only other player to have a hit today. That's Maddie Hayden. She started this game with a single.
Courtney, when I look at Grace Sparks in the month of April, she struggled a little bit. Before this game, she only had 2.1 innings pitched total in the month of April and gave up 2 big home runs in that Georgia series as well in that LSU series. So it's like games like this are where you need to kind of build up that confidence, right? And I know the SEC is such a complete grind, but someone that maybe hasn't got the amount of innings that she would like. So it's important in games like this of just like going to town, hammering good spots.
Coco Woolley charging on this ball just in time to retire Maddie Hayden. That's the SEC Co-Player of the Week.
And so good, but trusting your defense if you're Grace Sparks. She goes and gets this on the hop. Coco Woolley gets a little velo on the throw, even when her body seemed like it was up in the air. So money, what a play.
And we may have a possible review here. Allison Habits out talking to our umpiring crew. The original call was that the runner was out. The throw made it there in time. And you saw her make the signal for the review.
Call at first base. Plays under review.
Again, the original call was out at first.
And it was a obvious, tight, close play. You saw Coco Woolley get it on that second hop, and the rule of thumb usually is when those kind of slappers get the second hop, they tend to always be safe, but this should, yeah, she's out by a step.
That's a beautiful look from our crew, wow.
And umpire Robert Gonzalez, he's on it. And think we're seeing at this slow-mo, he's making these split decisions. Can't say that I'd make the right call going that fast down the line.
We're cheating. We're cheating looking at it in slow-mo. He's got to do it live.
Yeah.
And Coco Woolley, I mean, she just makes plays like that, which is insanely difficult. Looks so effortless and like graceful, flying through the air, throwing this ball. It's incredible.
She made that throw like with her body in the air and was able to get enough heat behind that throw to get her out. And I think the call is obviously going to stand.
Just waiting on official word as they are reviewing this play. The original call was out at first base, and the angles that we showed you would confirm that call if they're seeing the same thing that we are. Here's the official SEC Hawkeye look.
Yeah, I'm actually not sure why this is taking as long as it is. The ball is in the mitt.
Here we go.
After review, the call at first is upheld. We have an out.
Dustin Douglas behind the plate for us today. Little dance break. So that's 2 outs. It was Savannah White who led off this inning for Louisiana with a solo home run, just her second of the season. But Grace Sparks and her defense have retired the next 2 batters to get to Deja Williams. And Grayson Coleman smartly doesn't touch that softball until it rolls foul.
And you could hear her teammates yelling, leave it, leave it. Knowing way too much speed up the line, you touch that, she's safe all day.
Deja Williams laid down the sac bunt in the first inning to move Maddie Hayden over to second, but unfortunately Louisiana left her stranded.
And I think a really good response by Grace Sparks after giving up the solo shot. She got 2 outs, and at the end of the day, Grace Sparks is a pitcher that uses her defense. She throws that true drop spin rotation. You have to trust your defense.
Coco Woolley once again showing why she plays shortstop, because she's pretty good at it. But hey, rejecting 14 of the 15 teams in the conference to make the tournament.
And right now they're above Texas and Oklahoma. Like, they're in the top spot. And 13-4 in just such a daunting week in and week out conference. More importantly, it's like you're kind of at this point where Coach Tricia Ford made it clear, like, doing the little things mean the most when it comes to the sleep and the recovery.
Mac Barbara underneath that softball, bounce it off the scoreboard. Get the howdy hat. Starting the 3rd inning with a bang from Mac Barbara, her 8th home run of the season.
You know what I love about this? She stepped into the box with a plan to attack something on the outside part of the plate with velocity, knowing that's how her teammates were pitched in the 2 previous at-bats. And she's on time with it, and obviously has so much power opposite field all day. But to me, Mac Barber is a hitter that needs to stick to her plan in order to stay successful unless she gets to 2 strikes. And that's what you saw her do in that at-bat. Not fooled by 70 away, on time, so clutch.
And that comes off Mallory Wheeler, who did such a nice job of entering this game in the last inning. Coco Woolley steps up now. Woolley right past Gabby Stutz at second. And Coco Woolley is on for the first time today. She's now got a 5-game hit streak.
When I think the biggest thing from last inning to this inning is you're seeing these hitters, they're not fooled at all. They're finding ways to like make that adjustments. And sometimes as a pitcher, Mallory Wheeler probably coming in this inning, all feeling good. But then you see this team find a way to take the data from the inning prior and completely adjust. And at times that's what makes pitching so tough.
There goes Woolley. Plenty of time, and Coco Woolley has her 13th stolen base.
So much speed. I think even if she were to glove that up cleanly, Coco got a good jump.
Allie Enright watches that pitch come in for ball 1. She had a 2 RBI double in the first inning. And Woolley trying to bait Savannah White into throwing that softball over. Took her time, acted like she was going over to third. Enright popping up into foul territory. Emily Smith underneath it for the out. First out of the inning. So now with Coco Woolley at second, KK DeMitt steps in. First pitch, she liked it a lot. Goodbye. Two home runs in this inning for Texas A&M. That long ball was the 10th of DeMitt's season.
I mean, this was a daddy hack. Pitch elevated a bit up in the zone, but she almost takes this over the scoreboard. It hits the up at the very top. Daddy hack, mommy hack, whatever you want to say, but she unleashed on that. And someone that really stands out in this lineup to me, as much as we want to talk Mac Barber, we want to talk Maya Perez, Coach Tricia Ford said when Allie Enright and KK DeMent are on, it makes everyone that much better. And that is a true example. And KK DeMent coming from the Corona organization with Marty Tyson, I mean, she's been coached hard. We know this about the Corona Angels. Think about all the athletes that have come through that organization, have played in college at a high level, and a lot of them make waves as freshmen. And you see the same thing with KK DeMent. She's just been electric.
And do we have a possible pitching change coming here for Louisiana, as Texas A&M has hit 2 home runs not just in the game, but in this inning. It is the 11th time this season they've had multiple home runs in a game. And a pitching change for the Ragin' Cajuns. Will step aside as the new pitcher enters the circle for Louisiana.
She can spin it a good amount of innings pitched on the year, but relies on that spin. That's going to be the key focus. You see there's a big difference in velocity, 60 miles an hour, different than Wheeler.
She starts with Grayson Coleman. Just one out here in the third. Texas A&M scored 3 runs in the first inning and now 3 runs here in the third inning.
I'm wondering, Courtney, when we're in person on Sunday, I'm kind of hoping maybe when we go down on the field, we can get a little cameo with the howdy hat on you. I'd love to see that.
Only if Homer the horse is involved.
I got Homer, you got howdy hat.
Nope, you go all in. You got to do both. We'll trade.
All right. Photos coming. Photos coming.
2-2 to Grayson Coleman. Right past Noble, Stutes on the move and is able to retire Coleman for out number 2. I can see the caption now. Olympic bronze medalist Danielle Laurie with the howdy hat and her stick horse.
Hey, you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah.
If you dare me, I'll do it. But I dared you, so you're the first one up.
I'm in. It's not a dare. I'm willing to do it. So Frankie Vrajel will step into pinch hit here for Texas A&M in the 9 spot where Kramer Eshte was. Vrajel, a freshman out of Danbury, Texas. And she had to take over the right field position for about a month when Amari Harper injured her finger in the season opener. And the job that she did earned her a lot of trust from Trisha Ford.
And just somebody that keeps it simple, right? Doesn't make it too big. And I think being able to step in the box and not try to overdo it and just execute on your plan, keeping it simple sometimes kind of clears the mind a little bit, and that's what she does a good job.
There you go, Frankie.
Lets that one go by, evens up the count at 2-2. Trisha Ford told us today that Frankie had been a shortstop her entire career, and they asked her to move to the outfield because they wanted to build some depth there. And she's just so steady, so emotionally above a freshman. If you didn't know she was a freshman, then, or you wouldn't know that she was a freshman from how she acts. This one scooped up by Maddie Hayden for out number 3. But a big inning is Texas A&M now up 6-1 after 2 home runs in the third.
LSU series with LSU dropping and getting swept here in College Station and then going to Texas and losing the series there. They're a team that needs to really rebound against a Florida team. It'll be fun to watch.
And a new face in the circle, Sydney Lessentine, the true freshman right-hander, has taken over for Texas A&M to start this 4th inning.
And that was probably the plan from the jump of just being able to try to split this game, get both pitchers some innings. There's a good amount of innings pitched on the year, and she's been pretty steady.
Emily Smith making contact and gets to first in time. The 3rd hit of the game for Louisiana, and all of their hits have come from a leadoff in the inning. And you'll see the pinch runner come in for Emily Smith, as Michaela Ferguson will take her spot. Ferguson running for Smith, and Sam Rowe up next for Sydney Lessentine. Tricia Ford told us that she had a great conversation with Sydney Lessentine about her role and owning her spots and her role as this season gets closer and closer to the postseason. Sam Rowe towards left. Fragile with the scoop.
Well, I think as you see this season kind of going down with only really 2 more SEC series to play and then conference tournament and postseason, like if we're not owning our role at this point, right, it's going to be tough. And this season is hard. And I know I say that, but something that stood out on that call with Coach Tricia Ford was like not anything big time adjustment wise, but more importantly, like the accountability of this team of being able to recover when they need to get the sleep, to fuel their bodies, to continue to keep getting in the weight room. And those are the little things that always stand out, especially the weight room stuff. I think the continuous push of getting your body and working your body, knowing that this is a season you want to make it all the way till that second week of June. So it's that constant push and that grind, and that's something she talked about a couple weeks ago on Twitter. That hard stuff is where you learn a lot about yourself, but making sure you're really setting up the time. I know she mentioned the staff bought them all Oura rings to be able to track. They don't have access to the data, but it was more importantly for these athletes to be aware of where they're at with their sleep and their recovery.
Kayla Falterman fouls that pitch off. It's a ball and 2 strikes to Falterman, the best hitter when it comes to average in Louisiana's lineup. Two. KK DeMint makes the toss over to Maya Perez, but that does move the runner into scoring position. You mentioned some of the points of emphasis, Danielle. This is what Tricia Ford talked to her team about yesterday. Some of the high points she told us: commanding the strike zone for the pitchers, execute situational hitting. And if you're a hitter, make the pitcher work hard. And then the recovery piece that you mentioned, that was the all hands on deck part of her message to the team yesterday.
And those are things I think when you think of the situational hitting, she brought up like being able to lay down the sack bunt when you need to, being able to do the safety squat, like all of those little things at times need to be needed, especially when that pressure gets going towards the end of conference play. But more importantly, the SEC tournament, conference tournaments are hard too, and it's a week of just action. So sometimes being able to focus on those little things and them being in the forefront of your mind can help win a ball game for you. So it's all the little things that add up to the big things.
Two and one to Erin Ardouin.
And Lessentine can spin it. She throws mid-60s. She has that good curveball, can go upstairs, but the difference maker for her is that off-speed pitch, is that changeup, bread and butter pitch.
Full count to Ardouin. Aaron was a part of that McNeese team that forced Game 7 in the 2023 regionals against Washington. Ended up losing 7-6. It was wild. Danielle was sweating the whole time. This is gonna drop. One run across as Ferguson scores. Lost in shallow left field.
And this is almost like it's in the Bermuda Triangle, and you see that the infield's in. I think if Coco Woolley is back a little bit, but that's not the way the defense was playing. You see Eshte laying out, but finds some green off the end of the bat.
Gabby Stutz now. It's an RBI double for Ardouin, and the first time that Louisiana has had a hit with a runner on.
And the focus for this Louisiana team when asking Coach Habits, like kind of moving forward, besides obviously being able to have a little bit better barrel control for those lefties, it's at times they just weren't squaring up good pitches and they're just missing. And as we know, like you're not going to get a whole lot of great pitches to hit in an AB. And if you're not ready for it and you let it go, that's when it can hurt you. So it's just being able to be more aware of when you get a pitch that is time to crush, you better be ready for it.
Two outside, runs the count full to Gabby Stutz with a runner in scoring position. Louisiana just had an RBI double to tack on their second run of the game. This will be the 7th pitch to Stutz in back-to-back full counts here. Sydney Lessentine entered to start this 4th inning, relieving Grace Sparks, who got the start tonight. There it is, and the strikeout from Lessentine to get out of the inning, and Louisiana leaves a runner in scoring position. Home run. What's allowed her to have success early as a young freshman?
Yeah, just her ability to process at-bats, pitch to pitch. You know, I've talked about it many of times. That kid's just special, and she understands kind of what the situation calls for and where she should be hunting.
Coach, what was the message to the group about just this midweek game, knowing the importance of it, especially heading into, you know, a tough SEC Arkansas series coming up?
Yeah, just that Louisiana is scrappy, and you know, I think they really they play like Allie Habits. You know what I mean? Like she is just scrappy, full of energy. They'll bunt, they'll run, and so you know, it's great practice for us to be able to have some good pre-pitch and making sure that we're executing.
Thanks, Coach. We appreciate it.
Thanks. Get 'em.
Yeah, it's crazy to look at. I mean, they play the SEC, so I guess it's not that crazy. But they have to finish. Texas A&M finishes with a series with Arkansas, and then they finish the regular season going to Tennessee for a series.
Yeah, I think that's the next 2 weeks are very telling for them in the best way, right? Like it's just that's kind of the gauntlet that you're in, and I think the teams that are mentally able to kind of stay steady all the way through. But getting to host Arkansas at home is always a good thing. And going on the road to Rocky Top, I know you're Tennessee grad facing Carlin Pickens at home. Like that's that's what gets you prepared for conference tournament and then heading into postseason. So I wouldn't mind it playing them the last series before we enter SEC tournament.
And Tennessee, the new #1 team in the nation. Texas A&M #2. They were #1 last week. It's the top of the order here for Texas A&M. 1, 2, and 3 to start off the 4th inning, facing Bethany Noble, who entered this game in the 3rd. 3 different pitchers tonight for Louisiana. No chance to catch Kennedy Powell. Speed, speed, speed.
Well, and just pressure on the defense. And you even see where Sam Rose standing. She tried to catch this in the air, but wasn't able to glove it up on that second hop. But even when the defense is in, to be able to drop the bunt and still leg out the base hit.
Ball comes in to Amari Harper. Walked in the 1st inning, and that extended her career high. Now 21 games straight reaching base. You know, in SEC play, Amari Harper leads everybody, hitting .486 in conference-only play. Back-to-back strikes coming from Noble.
And a good pitch. Like I said, at times you don't see as many right-handed throwers want to spin a pitch into the hands of the lefties. I just think the importance of establishing both sides of the plate. That's my plate if I'm a pitcher and I'm going to hit good corners.
Amari Harper gets that ball fair, has to go back to first. So it's Powell at second and Harper at first. Back-to-back hits to start off the 4th for Texas A&M. That means you get to see Maya Perez followed by Mac Barbara in the lineup for A&M. I love how Maya Perez came onto the scene last year as a freshman. Her first home run was a 3-run home run in Game 2 of the Supers at Texas to send it to extra innings. And now she's become a mainstay in the lineup.
I remember like where I was and what I was doing when that happened. Like that's the type of hit and just feedback of like everyone, like goosebumps, like, oh my gosh, can you believe she just did that? Like you'll never forget those types of moments that ended up forcing them to Game 3 against Texas, which I'm assuming scared the #1 seed in the nation when Texas A&M came in and said, hey, we're going to push you to a Game 3. It was ruthless. Emily Kennedy threw her heart out, and I think the one thing you're seeing is maybe a little bit less innings pitched by her in the best way, because you know she's going to have to amp it up, and I like that she's getting a little bit more help in the pitching department this year.
It's a hopper to Gabby Stutz at second. Runner holds at third. So Powell at third, Harper at second. Just one away. What did Mac Barbara do the last time she was up? Oh, she just went yard.
On that 70-mile-an-hour pitch on the outside part of the plate that Mallory Wheeler was wheeling and dealing against Amari Harper. And Maya Perez, the inning prior, came in, shut the door, and then to me it was the adjustments of the Texas A&M hitters when they got the chance to face her again. She was on time, opposite field.
I mean, the opening weekend of the season, Mac Barber made a statement. She had 3 home runs and 13 RBI.
Yeah. That's the type of player that she was when she played at Ole Miss. It's the type of player she was when she played at, at San Diego State.
I think they're just going to put her on. Little smile on her face and a few boos from the Aggie crowd.
And a nod of respect.
You like this move, though?
I do. I think she's a player that's burned you. Obviously, in this lineup with KK Demen, I think you want to pick your poison. You want to keep the score close, but more importantly, you kind of have a bases loaded situation now where you can potentially double up someone, go any bag. But not easy with Coco Woolley coming up.
Coco now on a 5-game hit streak. She's got them loaded. Powell at third, Harper at second, Barbara at first. Woolley does not have a hit with the bases loaded, but there's a first time for everything. And the series against Missouri over the weekend, all 3 games were multi-hit games for Coco Woolley.
It's a good spot.
Ball 3 comes in with the bases loaded.
Does she get the green light? Maybe. Has to be right down Main Street. She is getting squeezed though.
A run walks in. Kennedy Powell scoring. When you say she's getting squeezed, you're talking about the strike zone?
I am. I think that a lot of pitchers get squeezed. Coach Tricia Ford even mentioned it on the call. She says you're seeing a lot of pitchers with more inflated ERAs simply because the strike zones are a little bit smaller. And I can't sit here and say that I love it. I think you got to figure out how to work with it. But it's in the rule book. You should get the top of the sternum and you're able to get down by the knees. And at times you're not seeing umpires always give that. At times seems to be a little bit harder game for the pitchers right now, Courtney, than the hitters. Just saying.
Scott Lovell will be a pinch runner at second in Mac Barbara's spot. Allie Enright stepping up to the plate. Bases juiced. Already has 2 RBI in this game.
You hear the crowd like just yelling, ball 3, ball. They're just something they do there when you're not able to throw a strike. If you're not already in your dome, it's just a whole other layer of hearing people trying to call you out. It has to be the best part about pitching too, that me against the world mentality sometimes.
Ball 2. Bethany Noble came over from Seminole State, which is a JUCO in Oklahoma. She went to the JUCO World Series with that program. Allie Enright. Bounce it off the wall. I think it hit the scaffolding and bounced back in. The grand slam for Allie Enright. That's the 5th grand slam of the season for this Texas A&M program.
And not fooled by the changeup. You can tell it's almost like her swing path and lower half was just ready, set, boom, on time with this pitch. Dead center. It's actually off the
Did it hit our camera?
the clock. No, it hit the player clock.
The pitch
Shot
clock.
pitch clock. Excuse me, I'm all thinking hoops over here. Pitch clock out there and bounces back in. Shot clock.
The third home run of the day for this Texas A&M program, and that busted open an 11-2 lead for the Aggies. And Bethany Noble's day will be done. Allie Enright with a grand slam. We'll introduce you to the new pitcher when we come back. Allie Enright looks pretty calm for just hitting a grand slam. But she absolutely did.
Really calm, actually. And something that I've heard Coach Tricia Ford say numerous times, like literally the hardest worker on this team. First one at practice, last one to leave. Like when the moment's big, she tends to always be the one. Every time I've turned on a Texas A&M game, I feel like it's always Allie Enright that is up to bat. And I've just kind of loved watching her and her grind being an Aggie, and it showed up big in a moment like that.
So Sam Ryan steps into the circle now. It's the fourth arm that Louisiana has used today. They have given up 3 home runs, including the last one, a grand slam.
Yeah, and damage control right now if you're Sam Ryan. Got 1 out, just trying to get out of this inning. Put your team back in there. Try to get something going offensively.
There's KK DeMitt. 2-run home run for her in the 3rd inning. Towards right, scooped by Falterman, 2 down. Kylie Griffin into pinch hit, facing her old team. Started her career at Louisiana before heading over to Texas A&M. Griffin pops up, and Stutz grabs it from second.
Continuing to roll and then bringing in the lefty. Emily Kennedy getting to shut the door here for Texas A&M. The senior, the leader of this pitching staff.
She starts with Savannah White. Louisiana has to score in this inning or the run rule will be invoked. Up 8 after 5 innings. Savannah White led off the 3rd with a solo home run. And Emily Kennedy, it's been really fun to watch her over her career develop into who she is today. And Tricia Ford, who's a pitching guru, has played a big role in that.
Well, and just think about the trust, right? Like, new coach coming in, there has to be this level of trust that's built, but also like she kind of broke her down in the best way, like mechanics, and being able to build her back up into just this phenom and this level of confidence that she really does exude when she's out there. And that's the most important thing for a pitcher, is that level of confidence that you carry around the circle, because it is a hard game. As we know, you're gonna have days where you struggle, and everyone goes through it. We've seen Emily Kennedy have days where she goes through it. You've seen Carlin Pickens have days. It's just a part of the game, but the response and the work is the best part.
And that strikeout means Texas A&M 2 outs away from a victory in this midweek. Laney Creeder will pinch hit. 222 hitter on the season. Over the weekend, went 1 for 3 with an RBI and a double against South Alabama in that 3-game series. First pitch strike fired in from Kennedy. This one rolls to DeMitt, and 2 away. Louisiana down to its final out. And if you're Texas A&M, this is what you needed, wasn't it, after getting run ruled by Missouri?
Yeah, that doesn't feel good. I mean, they had the doubleheader on Thursday, and what a grind of a day that was. To be, like, on for 14 innings. But to come back and do this after the run rule, Courtney, you're spot on. I mean, just all the key components working, pitching, continuing to stay in it, but more importantly, like getting the big bops and just the consistency from the lineup for me is what stands out the most.